Hello guys, and welcome back to this very special Kiev Cultural Changemaker special. I'm of course your host and founder of the Interpreting Wine podcast, Lawrence Francis. And while I'm based in London, traveling and uncovering great new places is really part of who I am. And one of my biggest discoveries of the last year has been the city of Kiev, capital of Ukraine. This series of 9 interviews was recorded in October 2018 and in March 2019, and I hope captures a sense of not only what's happening in the food and drink scene, touching as it does on wine and local cuisine, but also captures a sense of where the city is heading through design, music and cultural change. And I hope that if you or anybody you know is planning to visit to the city, you'll use this series as an audio guide, both to discover fantastic places to eat and drink, and also understand some of the wider cultural context. So here we go, today's episode of the Kiev Cultural Changemaker Special. Today's episode of the Kiev Cultural Changemaker Special features Oleg Kravchenko of WinBar Kyiv. Oleg and his team have succeeded in creating a space that celebrates wine from all over the world and serves this in a stylish, welcoming atmosphere to both locals and visitors alike. Today we hear his WinBar origin story. He gives us his virtual tour of the current state of Ukrainian wine. We taste one of the Ukrainian wines from his menu. And he discusses being a former Ukrainian sommelier of the year. Enjoy.
I'm Kravchenko Oleg. I'm a sommelier and chef sommelier and co-owner of WinBar. It's I think it's a really good wine bar in Kiev in Ukraine, and I go to restaurant business at 24 years ago. Yeah, it's I know this for me profession of metro d'hotel. For me, it's I think it's so interesting story. I will go to restaurant with this position, but I study it in Kiev restaurant hotel college with work. With some work profession of waiter, bartender, and some manager, and I start like waiter in many kinds of restaurant, after a barman, after manager, and always I make some wine list, some cocktail list, so interesting about many kinds of drinks, beverages. And after, I think wine is my favorite drink. Many kinds of wine. It's for me. It's good for my soul, for my heart, for my stomach. I think it's good. And I go to some art. Yeah, not some like management art, because like for me, sommelier it's a little bit of art. Yeah. And I win some competition. I'm best sommelier of Ukraine 2011. After I work like chef sommelier and wine boutique, Arlekin, and after make some consulting. I make for some wine list or some consulting masterclass for many kinds of restaurants. Some work with some brands like sparkling wine or some another wine. And after some chef Alexei Yusupov proposed me some interesting project, and the name is Dokit Dav, Собака съела голубя. It's I think it's new level of restaurant in Ukraine. We have some three line of making, like Slava Babic, like chef barista, me like chef sommelier, and Alexei like chef cook, yeah, like chef, and we all people come for every three level, yeah. For me, for Slava, for Alexei, we make some connection. We make some pairing with also. And I think this product now closed, yeah. But I think this kind of business now good work, like personality. Yeah. Before I think some restaurant make some our chef, no name, or our sommelier. Yeah. After restaurant make some story about some personality. Yeah. Our chef is named ta. It's work here. It's some make some here, and the same like sommelier or chef barista or chef bartender, and after because now I think the story and business make some personality, some persons with some names. Yeah. After I work chef sommelier in restaurant family Dima Borisov, we open Nikkei and Peruvian restaurant Ronin, and in this structure many kinds of restaurants, some Ukrainian restaurants, some Pan-Asian restaurants, some burgers. In every restaurant we make some different wine list. Of course, in Ukrainian most popular Ukrainian wine. Of course, we make some wine tasting with Ukrainian with some winemakers, with some wine producers. In Peruvian, of course, many kinds of New World wine, some rosé or sparkling, very good pairing with spicy food, with some fresh seafood. And after I work the same like chef sommelier in another project, it's same three kind of restaurant, Italian restaurant, Mercato Italiana, Mr. Zuma, it's same Japanese or some Nikkei restaurant, and Ray, it's a new kind of restaurants. It's like Scandinavian cuisine. This one, it's I think started here, but now it's not so popular, or some people don't understand this kind of cuisine. And in parallel, I make some connection with designer Vladimir Nepoveда. It's Yacht Design Studio. We work with him in Dock and Dow project, and then time I thinking about my project, my wine bar, and after I think approximately 5 years we make this project. It's collaboration of designers and sommelier. We are 4 partners, 4 co-owners, 2 sommeliers and 2 designers. Design studio is so famous for us, or for everyone for us. It's some some competition. It's some ambition, because some designers want to make some good project, good place with interesting design elements, and like business card of design studio. But his guys make many kinds and many famous project in Ukraine or in another country. It's like Odessa restaurant, Bauer restaurant, Nam restaurant, Loggerhead bar, Holy Chicks, Relax Park Perhaly. It's many famous projects. It's this kind of ambition for me. Many kinds bars or restaurant in Ukraine make have wine list, or in Ukraine we know some not so many wine bars, but we want to change opinion of people of wine culture, of atmosphere in wine bar. Because in many bars some no design, or in many bars not a great wine list, or not so large, or not so interesting wine position like mass market, very cheap, or some no good professional for this business. And we make this all in complex. We make good design. It's some good building on Podil in the heart of Kiev. It's a very good street with many bars. We make some design with little bit design elements. We first have wine machine, it's wine on top in Ukraine. It's in bag-in-box, but so good wine, no name, no like Vino Rosso, Vino Bianco. It's Monosipage wine. It's like Cabernet Sauvignon from California, or Riesling from Moselle, or Cinsault Rosé from south of France. And we make good atmosphere, good price, good wine shows, good list. Yeah, we have for the start wine from wine machine, but if you want more interesting, we have a proposal of orange wine, of good Bordeaux wine, or wine from Burgundy, or wine from South Italy, or New World wine. Of course, sweet and fortified wine. Porto, Marsala, Madeira, Late Harvest, some Sauterne, Barsac, and many kinds of wine. We make a little bit of cocktail, but with wine base. Wine base, of course, a good choice of digestive, like Amara, Grappa, Calvados, Armagnac, brandy, cognac, whiskey, aged rum, interesting liqueurs, vermouth, and many kinds of.
We're sitting here, we're close to the open kitchen. As you say, there are, very beautiful design elements here, and this feels like this could be a bar in London, and I think what I'm thinking is in London, people are very tuned into wine. They've been drinking wine for many years, and I'm just, wondering how is it here to open such a sort of a modern, really on-trend type of offering in somewhere where the general public is not so used to having such an offering. Was it difficult in the beginning to explain the concept and to bring people in, or was it more straightforward?
Now we make a new wine list. By the way, we propose 24 position by the glass with Khoryva or just by the glass, but it's a very great proposed by the glass, because our people want to travels with wine. No new. Our guests come and say, do you have something new to taste, something new about grape variety, something new about countries? And now wine culture in Ukraine, it's some start, but it's so speedy start, so quickly start. People, some have a wine trips. We make the same with my companions. Wine trips, visited Alsace, Champagne, Bordeaux, now go to Piemonte, and people learn so quickly, and people want to know some sommelier schools or wine schools. In these schools come not so people who want work after sommelier or in bars, just people who wants to know and about wine and go with wine in your life. And I think our bar makes some start for these people for good start for wine culture in Ukraine, the same. And I think we want about association, like some where we go to drink cocktails, some in Parovoz wine bar, in Parovoz bar in Kiev, or in Loggerhead or Irbarwe. I think people say, where's the best wine, or where we go to wine? Of course, in WinBar. It's our ambition, the same, And for us, we want to make some projects, and people who want work the same level see and maybe make much better. Okay, it's so good, but we like pioneers, I think. And for us, it's our mission make wine culture in high level in Ukraine, because wine it's really good beverage, good drink with some philosophy. Because and we don't have beer, we don't have vodka, we don't have tequila, because it's another philosophy. Wine it's a different philosophy.
I will have already published an episode talking about Ukrainian wine, so I'm kind of curious to get your feel on that, and does it feature on the list, and where do you see Ukrainian wine now, and what point do you see Ukrainian wine at the present?
I think it's the same like wine culture. Yeah. Before we have some big wineries, big projects, but with very not so cheap, very really wine without emotion. Yeah, some just entry-level wines, not so, and of course in Ukraine so popular semi-sweet wines. Yeah, and if we say about story before, semi-sweet sparkling wine, semi-sweet white or red, like Georgian Alazani Valley, it's so popular. Now the same, some change. Brut category, if you say about sparkling wine, go to high, and of course dry wine the same, go to high. We have some garage or not so big wine companies like Colonist in Odessa region, or big but with good quality wine with different level of wine like Shabo, the same in Odessa region, or Prince Trubetskoy winery in Kherson region, or really not so big, some like garage producer Beikush winery in Nikolaev region, or we have a not so good quality of not so high quality of wine if we say about Zakarpattia, west of Ukraine, but the same, it's near Takai, near Hungary, but the same very good potential for good wine producer with some autochthon grape variety from that region, so good like Muscatel or some Fourmint or some Cherchegi with white wine. If you say about red wine, I think we taste some, like for me, good red wine. But I think, stories change. It's a problem. It's the price, because price it's so, I don't say like not so high, but not so cheap for Ukrainian people, because for 200 or 300 hryvnia, this price of good quality Ukrainian wine, some people have a choice, buy some Spanish wine or buy some Italian wine or by some South France wine, or of course New World wine. It's a problem. But if people want to know about Ukrainian wineries, of course buy Ukrainian wine, and it's of course many kind of Ukrainian wine sales in restaurant. It's a good purpose for people from another countries who want to know what about Ukrainian wine, because Ukrainian, I think we have a good potential for making good wine industry, like Moldova or like Georgia or like Bulgaria or many countries from east of Europe, many countries.
I mean, I think actually, and interestingly for me, I think there's a similarity between what you're talking about there and even the wine industry in England, because many years ago people, they didn't think we could make wine, and then it became very famous for sparkling wine, and it was expensive as champagne. So I think there was the same challenge for people. They didn't want to spend more than champagne to get English champagne or English sparkling wine, and it was a big leap for people, and over time, I think as maybe even climate change has even helped us a bit in England. Things have warmed now, and we're now producing, I think, accessible price point, very good quality. And now we've been bringing in some very interesting still wines and red wines, and it's all about a process. Yeah, it's all about a process, and I think patience. But yeah, you've got to. I think you've got to create a space like this to attract people in. They can see it as something normal. See people outside on the terrace drinking wine, and it, slowly but surely, it becomes something more normal, something more everyday. It doesn't have to be just for the weekends or special occasion. We've now got a couple of glasses of red wine in front of us. So yeah, as I love to ask, take us inside the glass. Let us know what we're drinking here.
Of course, if you say about this wine, a really good pure Cabernet Sauvignon, 2009. It's from Odessa region. I think if you say about Ukrainian wine, I think this kind of red wine, full body wine, can store a time. It's the same like good Bordeaux wine. If you in Ukraine we make so good wine, I think we wait 5 or 6 years for good condition of wine. And the same, what's the problem? The vineyard, it's so young. Now I think 18 years old. And we know after 10 years old, vineyards go high and high with high quality, high level of wine. It's the same problem. And technology. We don't have good winemakers or good specialists in this industry. But now many young people who start here go to Europe. I know some girls who every year go to New Zealand, Australia, USA, make wine in many kinds of wineries now, go to Germany, and of course I think after these people come here, I think a market after 5 years ready to invite these people to make pay good money for these professionals, and I think after Ukrainian winemaking go up. Owner of this company is Ivan Plachkov. It's a man in Krynichna village. It's of course Bulgarian colonist who's come to Ukraine from Bulgaria. It's new project, and in this village never make a big factory or big winemaking. Yeah, just people of course making wine, but it's new project. Make some like chateau, make vineyards. In this Cabernet Sauvignon, I think it's with good potential. It's the same like Bordeaux style for me. It's with berries aroma, with little bit leather, a little bit spicy, with good acidity, like Margaux style Bordeaux. And I think for this kind of wine now, in Vysoka Gamma or high Gamma, make Cabernet Merlot like Bordeaux blend. But before we 2009 make some pure Cabernet Sauvignon. From this winery, I prefer a sparkling wine. It's the name of Bisser Brut. Semi-dry, semi-sweet Riesling, also good, and Cabernet Sauvignon or Cabernet Merlot. And of course, this winery make so interesting 45th wine like Porto style.
I'm aware we've been speaking mainly about the bar, and we kind of skipped over the part about you being, the sommelier of the year here. And yeah, I'm just curious to get your reflections and your recollections a bit on that process, preparing and going forward and eventually winning. What was that like for you?
Of course I have some good experience, many kinds of process if you want to win in competition. Yeah, I make everyday blind tasting with my friends or with my family. Yeah, with my wife, I make some aeration decanting wine in a time. Yeah, I have 5 minutes. I present wine. I put in decanter. I say about this wine. Yeah, like color, aroma, taste, and of course read many information about wine, about wineries, about wine region, but more more point we have is in competition of practice. Serve sparkling wine, serve wine, decanting wine, and blind tasting of wine or another beverage. And in these programs I win. We have 3 semi-finals. This kind of program, serve wine or serve sparkling wine, I have a good time. I make also all program in this competition. Because serve wine, and some people say like you, and say what kind of wine, what do you about say? I know I have a time. I make work, and some speaking, but another people some. What do you say? Some stop, some thinking. I know I have a time. I make a program. Don't worry, I speaking, but I some make a work.
Multitasking.
Yes.
Okay. And I really just then for me, just final question really, just to say, again, thank you for your time today, and just ask you to kind of look forward really. What do you see as the near and maybe medium term future for the bar and your projects and the wider wine in Ukraine?
Okay, in a long perspective, I want to make wine. Of course, I will have some winemaking and me like winemakers. I don't know, maybe in Western Ukraine, in Zakarpattia, maybe I think we make some vineyards and make some wine. Or like, I think we start like negotiant, buy grape and making wine maybe in Kiev. We have some little wineries here. And of course, I will go to make new projects, new bar. Now we have 2 propositions of this one to make some different kind of bar. I think one is like sparkling wine or like cideria. In Ukraine we don't have good cideria, but cider we have. My friends now in this autumn make good cider. I think it's so good way for this one. It's not. I think we go to not so high level price for this one. Yes, for also all kind of people like students or like young people who want to know about wine, about good beverages. And another project I think we make like not so club, but wine with good atmosphere, with good music. In WinBar the same. We play DJ in Friday and Saturday. We make some good atmosphere. Some people stay like this, drink wine, some speaking, go to terrace, or stay about bar, on the bar. It's so good atmosphere. It's so good, and I think we make most biggest project with this one. It's more like club, but always with wine.
Thank you so much, Oleg. It was an absolute pleasure meeting you. As I mentioned on the podcast, WinBar is an absolutely fantastic space that would not look out of place in London or any major city, and is yet another great place to discover Ukrainian wines in the capital. Do be sure to check out the main social media handles for WinBar Kiev, which I've left below. If this is the first episode of this series that you're checking out, why not head over to interpretingwine/Kiev to hear the full playlist as released so far. Next time on the Kiev Cultural Changemaker special, in episode 312, I sit down with Yaroslav Artyuk of modern Ukrainian restaurant Kanapa. See you then.